Good evening, everyone. I'd like to, what do we got in the background there? Can we close that door? Someone? They're really loud.
Then they need to be quiet.
Who is that?
Him.
Okay. Well, then they need to be quiet because that's all I hear. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to call the Village Council regular meeting, November 10th, 2025, to order. I'm showing the time at 6 o'clock, and I see we have a full quorum here. First up, we have well, no one's remotely participating, so move right on to adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes? Hearing none, I'll need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have adoption of the previous minutes. Any questions? You get a chance to read those?
Give me just a minute. I'm good.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, changes? All right, I'll need a motion to adopt the previous minutes.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you all. Next up, public comment period. Do we have anybody signed up? Looks like we have a few. Just a quick reminder, when you come up, make sure the the microphone is on. Should be a little green light after you hit it. State your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. Kim will be timing you. So who's up first?
All right, first. Okay, that's fine. First up is Terry McGee, 2025 Carolina Cherry Lane. No. You don't want to speak? Okay.
Okay.
Next is, I apologize, Ann DeVazia? Am I close? You're not speaking? Okay. Ron Hamill?
Ron Hamill, 3219 Oak Brook Drive, Marvin, North Carolina. Tonight we are talking about Mr. Jamie, who's no longer with us. And I wanted to also mention that I've been coming to a lot of these meetings just about as much as everyone else has. And I think I've been in training for this job. So I hope you all would like to vote for me tonight. And if we have a second, I would like a second. And then we can go ahead and start with this. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney? Mr. Spencer?
It's not a back.
Okey doke. Just checking. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. Next up,
Kristen Conway, 12017 Carolina Cherry Lane. No one else has signed up, Mr. Mayor.
all right, moving on. Feedback from previous public comment period. Do we have any? All right, hearing none, we'll go right into presentations. First up, we have reports and updates. Manager's report. Christina, what you got?
I don't have anything at this moment, sir. I have some stuff in Public Works, but
Nothing critical? All right. Next up, planner's report.
I don't
have anything to update you guys on.
Nothing to update, okay. Public Works report. Christina, is that you?
Sorry, I had to, yes. Marvin Eford Park barn repairs, you should see those starting any day now if they haven't started already. We also are doing some sidewalk repairs in various subdivisions that have reached out to those neighborhoods that are affected. So that work should be beginning, I'd say, the next week or two. And then obviously, you've seen the construction start at the Village Hall Park project. So that is all I have at this time, sir.
Any questions from council? All right. Next up, we have Parks and Recreation report.
Hello. Well, I will be updating you on events. The next event that we have upcoming is, I believe, the car show, which is next Saturday, this Saturday, November 15th. It's from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Marvin Eford Park. It was a really big hit back in June when we did it, so we encourage you guys to come out. And after that, I do have a great update about the Friendship Tree for you. This year, we were given 40 names by the county, and all 40 children have been already adopted for the holiday season. So the banners are coming down, the tags are off the tree. We've canceled promotions for it, and instead are just reminding people to return the gifts to Village Hall by December 5th. So we're super excited about that.
Did everybody fill out a form
Everybody filled out a form either physically or electronically with me, yes.
with all of their contact information, so I don't have to try to hunt them down at the last minute? Okay.
Correct. We also have the next scavenger hunt that will be starting right before Thanksgiving. That starts November 26th and runs through the 18th. We have a Woodland Creatures winter ornament scavenger hunt, so staff and PRG board will be kind of putting those around on the trails, and it starts the day before Thanksgiving, and we'll have our prize table set up so the kids can, not only can they keep the ornaments for their trees at home, but they can come in and pick a prize off the table. So that's November 26th to December 18th. And then we've got our annual tree lighting, which will be on Saturday, December 6th, so we're really excited about that. And just kind of putting some finishing touches on that, but we'll have Santa and hot chocolate, cookies. We have confirmed the Marvin Ridge High School band and also the choir will be attending as well. And so we've got some fun stuff lined up for that event as well. So that is Saturday, December 6th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Marvin Eford Park. And other than that, unless you all have any questions, that's... Yes, Bob?
Yeah, I've had some questions asked on the scavenger hunt. Where does everybody meet? Like, is it all throughout the village in terms of the trails? Or do people just go on to the trails, or do they just meet here, or is there a main place to be?
It's going to be on multiple trails in Marvin. There's no set time. They can go whenever they want to. It's sort of whoever wants to participate over the course of the few weeks until all of the little ornaments are found and taken. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how are we advertising the car show? Just through
We have been advertising it through social media, but also First Class Cars has been heavily promoting it as well. So we're just doing that in conjunction with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have booked 3 to 4 car shows for next year as well already. So they're really excited about the venue and the turnout, and it's been a really great event. So, any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have deputies report. What you got, Ed?
I put in the notes at the bottom of the report about a larceny. It was a felony larceny that happened, I think it was approximately 2 weeks ago. The homeowner put a donation box out on the front porch, and it was pouring out rain. The person that picked it up went into the shed and picked the box up from there that had like a $1,500 piece of lawn equipment in it. When they got back, they realized that it wasn't the right box, so they brought it back. So I closed that report out. There was no crime committed. They returned the property and took the donation box and left. But that's the only thing that I wanted to point out on here. That wasn't actually a larceny. It was just an accident, so. Does anybody have any other questions about anything that's on the deputy report?
Is there any reason we're only seeing one?
I'm
speed-
sorry?
Is there any reason we're only seeing one speed location from the radars?
No, you should have got 4 reports.
I'm just curious about what's going on Marvin Road, because I'm seeing an influx in speeding, high speed, rates of speed on Marvin Road. 118 is the maximum speed. Very concerned that they got to that speed from the traffic circle.
Marvin Road, let me look at it. Yeah, 118 miles per hour. That was late at night, and it was probably a motorcycle or a sports car.
I mean, I'm looking at the numbers, and, there's 79, over 61, 17 over 66, 14 over 71. It just seems, that one particular stretch seems excessive on the speed. The other ones look great. I'm happy with, the other.
Yeah, but if you actually look at the overall, the amount of cars that are actually driving the speed limit, it's quite high. Between 40 and 45 miles per hour, there's 91.55% of the people that are driving on it are actually driving within the speed limit. And if you add if you even add the 7.61% to that are going between 46 and 50, it's even higher. It's in the high 90s that they're actually complying with the speed limits. And a lot of that has to do with the traffic enforcement y'all have hired through off-duty. If you look at our traffic stops, I'm actually having difficulty. I usually am able to pull over 2 or 3 cars a day just driving around, and I haven't had any issue with that. So I do see the speeds coming down during the daytime while we're here. But our traffic stops, let me look it up real quick. We had 42 last month.
That's good. I'm not complaining. You guys do a great job doing what you're doing, but it does concern me that these high speeds on that one particular stretch of road, even if they are in the middle of the night. all
Right.
it takes is one person pull out and not see somebody at that rate of speed. As you
Right, even on a motorcycle, it'd be deadly for anybody. Right.
So that's my only concern. I understand you guys are doing your job and you're doing what you're supposed to, and the speed reflected for the most part. It just seems like that one stuck out to me.
Right. And we've had that issue before out on your road, on Waxhaw Marvin, and over on the Viking end of it. Somebody was actually driving, I think, 90 out there a couple months ago. That's totally insane, especially on that stretch of road where that sign is. But, I mean, most of them are in compliance. I mean, you're going to get the one guy that decides to drive by the sign to see how much he can get it to go up to. But
Any other questions from council? Great, thanks, Ed.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ed.
Next up, planning board report.
We met on Tuesday, the 21st of October. We covered really 2 things. The first one was the planning board meeting schedule for 2026. And then we went over a general discussion of the text amendments to the Marvin Development Ordinance involving the tree ordinance, gated subdivisions, and maximum lot coverage and accessory structure. We didn't go into any detail. It was pretty much that's being formulated right now, and that's going to be presented at the next meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for Bob? All right, PR&G board report. John?
So at our last meeting, we talked a little bit about some of the events, the Halloween event, of course, which, as mentioned, was a big success also. Another event that we had done was the first Arbor Day and plant exchange. There was probably about 15 to 20 people that kind of came through at different times. Some of them stayed for the tree dedication and planting and so forth. It was good in that I certainly learned a lot about, some of the misnomers we have with how to plant trees and stuff, but I know we've got some of that information on the PRG board now, so I think we're trying to get that out, so people don't necessarily wait till the spring. It's better for a lot of the trees to be planted now. We also went through. There was some question, that some of the folks on PRG had about, trails and, how we plan for those and different things like that. So we did go over kind of in detail the CIP for, future trails and, other projects that are related to PRG. Of course, the important thing about those are really just plans. They don't have monies attached to them or things like that unless they're in the current, fiscal budget year. So, we went through a lot of that information, and they were able to ask questions and things like that. But that was really it for PRG.
Who was that guy from? Where was he from? The planning?
I think he was from Trees Union,
Okay.
who,
It's good information, either way.
I'll get his info tomorrow, because I'm in a meeting with Bob Nunnenkamp, and I know Bob's involved
No,
with those folks as well.
It just was good information. I thought I knew pretty much too, but
Yeah.
I learned a lot, so it was good. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, got lost here. Coffee with council, debrief.
That was last Thursday. The meeting was well attended. There were 5 to 6 people there. It was really 2 main topics. I was joined by manager of Village Hall. Thank you very much. And Christina was there as a great assist. It basically centered around Councilman Jamie Lyons' resignation, the optics that are perceived by all, and how the vacant seat would be filled. That dominated most of it was about an hour and a half, I guess. The second thing that was addressed, which Christina handled very well, which was the involvement of stormwater drainage coming from the Village Hall Park and how it was affecting the community adjacent, and the possibility of maybe looking at, regardless of the Army Corps of Engineers and all of the studies and such, that maybe we can look at a retention pond of some sort. And Christina's going to handle that. She's going to look into more about that, but that was the 2 things that were mainly covered.
So going beyond what the Army Corps of Engineers is asking us to do?
No, just the involvement in the past, in terms of the stormwater and such and this.
Christina, can you elaborate, please?
So there was some questions around why we didn't do retention ponds at Village Hall. The answer simply is the engineer set of plans did not require a retention pond. So we, as you all know, you hired professional engineers to conduct the plans, to do the plans based on the site disturbance and the built-upon area for the Village Hall Park. The other factor that plays into those plans is the Village Hall site itself, because they consider this a common plan of development. So that being said, when those plans were created, there was no need for retention ponds based on the built-upon area and the land disturbance at the time. Those professional engineers stamped, sealed, signed, delivered those set of plans, and they did not include retention ponds, which is why they weren't done, or why they're not being done, I should say, because the work is still under construction. So there's the desire for the installation of retention ponds. We did do a couple of things for underground storage of water, which is a cistern. And then we also have all this pipe that you see that's in the front yard that's going to be installed underground from the DOT pond that's coming, the DOT pipe that's coming under the road that will go underground and go into our drop inlet that's on the side of our property. We're also doing, what's called an enhanced landscape garden, which hopes to absorb a lot of the water as well. So we have a couple of different mechanisms that will help with water infiltration and retention. We're hoping that helps resolve some of the issues. A lot of those components were above and beyond what was required, but we are doing those as a part of trying to get some of the questions and the concerns answered that we've seen with water. So the only option at this point, if this council or a future council wants to do something more, is to do a change order with the current vendor and/or the engineer to go back and revise the site plans to include a retention pond and redo the whole set of plans for construction of that retention pond.
So after this had been explained, I'm assuming you explained all of this on Thursday.
For the most part, there may have been some details that I didn't
For the
express
most
right here.
part, this was explained. Did that seem that it was understood by
Yeah.
whomever was asking the
Yeah.
question? And they were satisfied with that answer?
I think the answer that people are looking for is to install retention ponds. I think that's the gist that I get.
So, okay, hold on. I know, Andy, I know you're chomping at the bit for this, but hang on real quick. So an engineer has told us that we don't have to do a retention pond. We are doing underground storage, moving water away, but yet that's not good enough. So from a professional engineer who has come in and said, you don't have to do these retention ponds, they still want retention ponds done and to cost however much that it's going to cost, even though we're already doing underground cisterns, pipes, getting it away from the clogged pipe when we built Village Hall. Is that correct?
I think the desire is to make sure the stormwater is mitigated, whatever that means. I think retention ponds are an answer, and I don't want to speak for any individuals that were there or that have the same concern, but I think as long as the concern is addressed and answered, I think, as far as stormwater management is concerned, I think that pacifies.
And our professional engineer, in their professional opinion, believes that this is how to do it.
A professional engineer definitely stamped the plans and said that it was sufficient based on,
Was this an engineer that was at this meeting?
no.
So I just want to clarify something. What we have designed here is an underground retention pond made of concrete that is underground. There are 60-inch culverts that were going under the ground, some 80 feet long, I believe, that retains the water the same way as a retention pond does, with the exception of the mosquitoes, because it's underground. We also have a much nicer looking wet pond area on top of it, which will be then fed by the retained water from underneath. That's why it was designed that way, so that it looks better and it does the same job as a retention pond. DEQ has approved it, engineers have approved it, designed it, and went above and beyond what needed to be done. So I just wanted to make sure to explain to everybody that this is not because we didn't put a retention pond in, it's an underground retention pond. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, next up, WUMA report. We did not go to the last one, but there was one. I don't think there was anything on the agenda. There wasn't one for this month either, so, okay, so nothing to report there. Next up, we have closed session.
I'm going to make a motion to recess into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143318111A13 for review of closed session minutes and to consult an attorney to preserve attorney-client privilege and to give instructions re Chris/Victoria Comiskey versus Village of Marvin / Kim Vandenberg, 25CV0004445-890 and 3:25-CV-0087-FDW-DCK.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we need our computers?
No.
What do we need?
Yes? Okay.
So we're going to excuse ourselves for a few minutes, go into closed session, and we'll be right back. We don't need anything.
You need your computer.
Do we need, okay, we need these.
Recording in progress.
Got one here. Get that guy. Yeah, there's a reason. Hey.
We good?
I don't know, is it back up?
We good? Internet's back up? It is? Okay. All right. We are going right back into our regular meeting. Apologize for the delay, but we did have a power outage which affected our internet. That said, next up we have consent.
So coming out of closed session.
Oh, sorry.
We did have a discussion in terms of a request that we had received from council member-elect Tom Eck, that we needed to be retaining public records. I'm not really sure why he decided to make this request, considering that we do this already. It seems like, maybe he's projecting. So I'm not really sure, but I did want to clear that up. We confirmed with staff, legal counsel, that we are following state statutes on records retention. So I find that a very strange and, I don't know, just a weird request, considering it's something that we already do. So, but that was coming out of closed session, so.
Any other comments? All right, moving forward, we have a consent agenda up. I'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, public hearing. We have, public hearing to consider adoption of resolution ordering closing the roads within the Winmore subdivision. Who has this?
It's me.
Assuming it's
I
Hunter.
got it, yeah. So the village has received a right-of-way abandonment request from the Winmore subdivision that includes 12 individual or single-family lots as well as the common open space. The HOA submitted a right-of-way abandonment application that does require all property owners' signature. They were able to obtain all 12 property owners' signatures for this request. So in short, the request is for the village to basically relinquish the roads to the HOA for them to maintain it, making them privately maintained. And they would replat to private right-of-way to be able to then go through the procedure of installing a gate for their subdivision. It's really, keeping it high level.
Very high level and very good, because I believe all property owners within the neighborhood do consent. During the public hearing, you have to make a determination whether or not the closing would be detrimental to the public interest or the property rights of the individual. So you're trying to make sure that the closing wouldn't be detrimental to the public or restrict access to any individual.
And to further add, a part of their application process, they amended their CCNRs to basically outline that the HOA will be responsible for maintaining the roads. They've also went ahead and had a preliminary plat done. I believe all this is included in your packet. Basically showing the right-of-way to be maintained by the HOA. In any other sense, basically what the state statute says is that if we abandon the right-of-way, then the property owners their property line would go to the center line of the road. However, the HOA is just going ahead and taking over that maintenance responsibility, having it replatted.
Recording in progress.
We have mics and, hold on, and we're back on. So you are good to proceed.
All right. Okay, we're coming back into the meeting. We're going to go ahead and open the public hearing for a public comment. Do we have anyone that has signed up for this particular?
Do you want to speak?
And we may want to allow the applicant to speak first, if,
The what?
allow the applicant to speak first if they would like.
Okay.
And they may say that staff presented it. Sometimes that happens as well. We just
All
try
right.
to give them the
Is
opportunity.
the applicant here?
The HOA president is here, and unless there's any specific questions for him, I think he said he's good.
All right, there are two people signed up to speak. First up is Brian Connaughton.
Connaughton.
Did I say it what?
Connington.
Connaughton, 103 McNeil Court.
You're good.
Is he here?
Okay. Next is, help me with this. Rondo Kylan. Okay. So,
All right.
are you good? Good? All right.
Okay,
That's it? No one?
all right. Do we close the public hearing officially? All right, need a motion for that?
No. you can just-
Okay, so we're going to close the public hearing and open it up to council. Any questions, concerns from council regarding this?
Mayor, if I may, I would also like to clarify, one of the questions that came up when we set the public hearing was regarding the bond overages. We had a bond or agreement with the HOA. What that agreement states is that the HOA will reimburse the village for those overages that we paid, that the village paid to have the roads completed at the time of their zoning permit, or before receiving zoning approval for their gate. Just want to clarify for that.
Okay. Any other questions from council? I will make note, when we was canvassing before the election, I did talk to a resident there, and I think he mentioned he was a holdout and didn't want it, and I was opposed to the thought that they had to take over roads going forward, but in the end of the day, I think he did sign the agreement, so it is 100%, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And there's no chance that they could come back to us and say, 10 years from now, you know?
They can, at any time. Once again, it kind of goes back into take it similar to like a new development where a developer owns and maintains those roads. The HOA in the future could do a petition for the village to accept the roads. They would have to be to our standard, meaning that if there were to be repairs or anything that needed to be done to bring it up to our minimum standards for the road, the HOA would be responsible for making those repairs to bring them up. But then they could still make that request, yes.
So the good news is that HOA is paying for the gate completely, and there's no taxpayer cost to that. They also pay the same tax that everyone else does. The only service they don't get from us, they still get garbage service, I believe. The only service they don't get would be any maintaining of roads or sidewalks, correct?
That's correct.
And in the future, though, if they were to come back, not only would they have to be brought up to Marvin's standards, but they also couldn't have the gate because we don't allow any
Correct.
public roads behind.
The gate would either have to be removed or remain open at all times.
Unless future councils change the ordinance on
It's a
gates.
it would be a public road that we publicly maintain. You can't gate that.
Yeah, it has to be
So
public.
I just
All
wanted
right,
to
so
clarify
that would be that caveat, okay. It would be for a future council to decide, and that gate would have to come down.
Okay.
Any other questions from council? Hearing none, I think we can have a motion, if we would.
Sure. I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution ordering the closure of the roads in the Winmore subdivision pursuant to NCGS 160A-299 as presented.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. And next up, We have unfinished business, we don't have anything. New business. First up, we have consider approval of request from Marvin Creek to construct sidewalk on Briar Patch Terrace in an amount not to exceed $18,500 with a 10% contingency and an additional $2,000 for engineering, and authorize staff to prepare budget amendment. I'm sorry?
That was the last part. It got cut off.
It got cut off?
I'll take this real fast. Mayor, Council, Marvin Creek approached me a couple months ago about kind of filling in this gap along Briar Patch. You can see some images in your agenda packet where there's some sidewalk that's missing. We don't really commit funds to finishing sidewalks, so we did have to get a quote from our engineering firm for this section. I had our guys go out and measure it, and so those measurements are in your agenda packet. It's gonna cost about $19,000, and then we need to add a little bit more in for engineering oversight, probably not much, but, so I'd say roughly $20,000 to $22,000 for finishing this little patch of sidewalk. We obviously didn't budget for that. That's something we would have to do a fund balance appropriation from roads to pay for, so wanted to present it to you all.
There's a sidewalk on the other side of the street.
It appears that way, but to be honest with you, I'm really not sure. It does appear that way. I can find out.
We have a map of that.
That's what I'm looking at now.
Let me see if I can
There
look it
should
up.
be a map in there.
I'm gonna see if I can look it up on my
No.
phone too.
Oh, no, there's not. It's just there.
Let's see.
I don't see
Would
the
you like me to
map, but
pull
I see
pull
the
up a map on the screen?
That would be great if you can.
Yep.
Tim, is this where you're talking about, right here? There's a sidewalk on that side, just not on this side? Or this is the section, like this little piece here?
No, it's that section there.
No, actually, there's not.
I see,
I don't think there is.
yeah. Yeah, and a crosswalk too.
Turn
I'm
it.
trying to pull up another one. Window.
Trying to see if there's one on that side.
Keep hitting that.
No, I know, but it's gonna do it. It's gonna,
I don't think there is. It does not appear there's a sidewalk on that side.
Trail, isn't it?
I'm pulling.
Just do 522, because that's roughly where it is. Okay, you got it.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, there is, okay.
And there is also a crosswalk there too, with a median, like a pedestrian refuge.
Doesn't look like that on this.
I'm going to ask that again because my mic was off. Are we required to have them on both sides of the road?
I mean, no, because this is not, since it's not a new development, like I said, none of that would apply. There is a walkable route with the crossings there, so therefore it would be, it's already a complete route. And it, like I said, it would just be an extension.
but even if there wasn't a complete route, are we required to build new sidewalks? I know we are required to maintain sidewalks, but are we required to build new sidewalks? No, okay.
So this, then they're supposed
Actually,
to cross
just
back over?
looking at the map, it looks like it was kind of designed that way, because if you look at coming, from Tom Short Road, you pass their internal trail there, and then it comes to that area with the crosswalk, then the sidewalk continues along Briar Patch all the way to the entrance to the parking lot for their clubhouse there, and then directly across the street is where that other sidewalk picks up, so, on the other side of the road. So,
I guess-
in most cases, they don't have sidewalks on both sides of the road. It doesn't look
Right.
like they only have it on one
The only
for
thing,
for
the
the
only
rest
thing,
of Briar Patch Terrace.
The only thing that's weird is if someone is coming from,
Briar Patch.
yeah.
They can't get
walking
across. So
towards-
I would, if I was gonna do anything, and this is the opinion of one, and I don't vote, but I'd be okay with doing a simple cross that they have over here, down there, because I don't know, we start doing that, then sort of sets precedent,
Well,
doesn't it?
that's-
Well,
That's
because
also not
if
our
you
road
keep going
either.
down Briar
So we
Patch,
can't do it on our
if you
road.
keep going further down, you'll see that it's on one side and then it crosses to the other again, and then it,
If that's the right side, it crosses it at the
yeah,
next,
if you keep going down Briar Patch,
flips to the other side.
you'll see that it keeps flipping kind of back and forth
here.
from side to
It's
side.
It looked like that was done on purpose.
Yeah, Wheatfield, they change it. You flip over and you go on the other side of the street.
So
This side.
I don't know, I did not look at the Powellville map to determine if this is actually our road. It wouldn't matter in terms of the sidewalk. But if it's not our road, which I don't think that this section is, we would have to get an encroachment agreement from DOT to put in thermoplast for a crosswalk, just so you're aware.
Are we able to table this?
Wouldn't we have to have an encroachment agreement to build the sidewalk as well, being that that would be in their right of way?
Probably so.
It's not our road. I just checked the Powell map. Yeah, it's not our road.
I don't know if you guys want to defer this one, and I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might just talk to them about whether or not they might need a crosswalk, because they do have the sidewalk on either or side of it, and that looks like the way the community was planned, you know?
Right, if you look at the whole community, it
Well,
looks
at
like
least
that's
further
what it
down
was
Briar
done.
Patch.
Right.
I didn't look at the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense to spend all of Marvin dollars
Yeah,
on a.
looking at the rest of the
specific
neighborhood, it
neighborhood.
looks the same, like all of their sidewalks are only on one
There's
side of the
sidewalks,
road.
most of them that I'll go, when you come across, if you keep going straight from the entrance roundabout, it's only on one side and not on the other.
Yeah,
And is this something that can be brought up at a future council?
yeah.
I'd probably, again, the opinion of one, we can go around and take a vote on this, but we want to do that, or
Or we can table it, and
Table it.
it'll go to an
for the
Subsequent
December
meeting.
Be a
meeting?
motion to defer consideration until the December 9th council regular meeting.
You guys okay with that, or you want to make a decision on this?
I'm not interested in spending, excuse me, I'm not interested in spending village money on a subdivision, single subdivision. That only benefits the subdivision, especially when it appears that it's been designed this way on purpose. That's
And it's
just-
not our road, correct?
It's not
We
our
have to
road.
have
Yeah,
easement.
I feel the same way.
I don't,
All right, so we want to vote on it then?
I have no problem voting on it. If-
Okay,
if-
that's
if-
fine.
I mean, it's not even our road.
Then I'll need a motion.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the request from Marvin Creek to construct sidewalk on Briar Patch Terrace in an amount not to exceed $18,500 with a 10% contingency, and an additional $2,000 for engineering, and authorize staff to prepare a budget amendment from fund balance reserved for roads.
Okay, and that's in favor.
That is in
Okay.
favor of.
Motions are in the affirmative.
In the affirmative. All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Motion-
It does not pass, sorry.
Motion fails.
So motion fails. All right, moving on. Next up, consider acceptance of the resignation of Councilmember Jimmy Lyon and provide direction as appropriate. Does anybody
I'll
wanna
make the
take this?
motion to accept Jamie Lyons' resignation.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next up on this is the direction is what we feel going forward as a council. Any thoughts from this council? So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but policy allows us to at least put out a request for applications for,
Yes, your appointment rule is set forth in Rule 38 of your Rules of Procedure. And it just says that you're going to go by the nomination procedure, and that's how it's done. You do have discretion on how you want to do this. Historically, this board has opened up various boards, including council vacancies, through an application process, set forth some general terms, and instructed the clerk to get those applications for review.
Hey, Mike,
I'm sorry?
I think somebody was back there like they didn't hear.
Was that off? I'll just speak a little louder. Round two.
Just repeat
Oh,
that.
yeah, Rule 38 of your rules sets forth the procedure for the appointment through a nominations procedure, but it does not set forth any specific rules or requirements. But historically, this council and prior councils have opened up vacancies on various boards and village council through a process. So you get applications, you get a pool of people that are interested, so you know who's interested. Then you review those. At times, you'll have interviewed. At times, you haven't. I will state this, though, any type of interview or discussion has to be an open session. So vacancies are a public process with that. Council can't meet in closed session to discuss any particular applicant.
So the interviews,
Where's the music coming from?
All kind of strange stuff. Mics in and out and music.
so the interviews are done in public as well?
Yes,
Okay.
if you do interviews.
If you do.
You haven't always done interviews, but you've generally done an application process to
Okay.
receive.
Are council members allowed to, say we get 10 applications, are council members allowed to reach out to individually as a council member to talk to that person?
Yes, you can do that individually. You should not do that with a quorum together.
Right, of course, okay.
Does it have to be in writing? Because we had one that was verbal tonight.
Understand one was verbal. That would be up to council to decide, but I doubt that a council, if somebody wouldn't fill out an application, I think it would be an uphill challenge for the person to be reviewed. Because you'll probably have a little bit of information on the application. And Austin, you've done the applications numerous times. I think you just do the name, their address, and their interest.
There was a different application used for the last time. There was a vacancy on the council. We still have that. We can pull that language and reuse it if that's what the council desires.
That's what I was gonna ask. I thought we had something that was just general, like
We could-
what
we
your,
could-
what your vision is, that kind of stuff, yeah.
We could also use the same application that we currently use for other boards. That's built into our website. So
Okay.
we could use that too. So it's really whatever you guys prefer.
And we can set a time frame on when that application should be received, like 2 weeks or,
Yeah, that's to your discretion.
okay. Were you gonna say something, Bob?
No, I was going to ask just that. It's how long the process was. I remember in the prior situation where Councilman Wortman was appointed, I can't remember, was it a 30-day, 90-day period that we allowed?
That vacancy occurred in April of 2020. You all appointed Councilmember Wortman in June.
Okay, I remember, okay.
Well, that's where I'm at right now. I don't know about the rest of the council. I think we would extend this out to the community to see who would actually sign up, give them 2-week time frame, and simple application. If they ask for it, they contact you, you can put out a memo or something.
If you all want to use the same form that we use for our other boards, it would just be online. People can fill it out online, submit it online. I can collect them and put them on an agenda for consideration.
But you would put a notice out that,
Yes, there would,
Yes.
we would send out a communication through all our channels that this is available to the public. You all could decide if you want to conduct those interviews during a regular meeting, or if that would be during a special meeting that you would need to call for.
okay. comments?
Yes, I have comments. I'm sure everyone's shocked that I have comments. So I actually had not read Jamie's resignation letter until just now sitting here. And I'm honored that he would like to recommend me for it. I didn't run for a reason. Those reasons have not changed. I'm not interested in filling this seat. I know everybody's out there smirking, and it's all fun and games, and it's real cute, but getting nasty emails from quite a few people, not quite a few, a handful of people, doesn't feel very uniting, as everybody has said. This community needs to heal, we need to unite. Surely doesn't feel that way. I am deeply disappointed in people's reaction. Everybody, you guys all assumed that this was happening. Everybody knows what happens when you assume. You make an ass out of you, and I'm just gonna leave it at there, because again, I hadn't read this yet. I don't want this position, but I do think that dictating to a council that has been in this position for 2-4 years plus it's disappointing, because we do have a right to fill the position if we wanted to. We could do it tonight if we wanted to. I don't think that that is the desire of this council. But I've also heard that it should be the next highest vote getter, which was Marcus. He doesn't want it. Wayne doesn't want it. Andy doesn't want it. So if we want to go on that, we should appoint Robert Epps to the council, which this council has every right to do so. So again, all of the smirks and the comments, for all of the emails that I got, I also had many people call me and tell me that I should take this position. Again, my reasons have not changed for me not running. We've done a lot of really good things in this village over the past 8 years since I've been on council. And I appreciate Jamie, and I appreciate him saying that. I also want to say that, you guys are online. I mean, again, just being so disrespectful to Jamie, to his family. He has multiple homes that he could have been living in. He was living in Firethorn. So for you guys to go out there and dox him and put his address out there it's again, not very uniting. And I will constantly be reminding you guys of that. And people are like, oh, you guys are gonna be undermining this council. Absolutely not. I want this new council to succeed, because that means Marvin is succeeding. But there will be people in this village to hold you accountable to all the things that you said during your election. So I will happily, I think it's a great idea, let's take applications. Ron, I hope you fill one out. I know there's at least another person in this room who has expressed interest, or may be interested, and I hope they absolutely put in an application for it. And you guys can get a peek behind the curtain, so to say. So, yeah, that's all I've got.
Better yet, it's actually a way to dip your toe in the water
Dip your toe in the water.
without expending anything, putting yourself out there and figure out, okay, after 2 years, do I want to continue this? But I'd like to add on to what, I did talk to Jamie, and to Ron, to your point about concern about him not being here and stuff. It was years ago, Jamie was talking to me about buying a place where I have a place in Seabrook. He was looking down there. He was looking at multiple places. I think, if you think about it, if he was smart, the Florida residents, if that's where he's going to reside, he would have done that 3 months ago, because Florida has no state tax. So there'd been a financial advantage to him to do that right away. But what he informed me, he was looking, and I think people don't realize it. I have multiple homes too that I one in Pennsylvania, one in South Carolina, and we visit them all the time, but we're not residents there. He has the ability to do that. He has the right to buy another place, but his intent, from what we understood, was to stay in Marvin and continue on with the council. That being said, I think this is a great opportunity. I'd love to see, especially those who probably have spent a good deal of time on the internet, Nextdoor, or whatever, complaining. This is a great opportunity because you have to expend yourself a zero amount of dollars. All it is an application, and who knows? It may be for the future council to decide on if this council can't make. But we do have the right to choose someone. Whether that'll happen or not, I can't say, but I do want to probably put a time limit on that application process before our next meeting. John?
Yeah, I'd also like to add, I would really extend that invitation also very specifically to all the members of our volunteer boards. Because, you know, I think giving of your time to this village, whether it be on PRG, on planning board, on any of the committees that we have, things like that, it does give you an insight into the things that you can and cannot do, you know, as a village entity, all of those type things. And, you know, Andy, for instance, I used to serve with the PRG board before he was appointed. And I think, you know, we want to reward people that selflessly volunteer for all of our boards and things like that too. So I just want to make sure that when we're extending invitations to the public, I want to point those people out as well, because they're already people that are out donating their time for the village, you know, in positive ways.
And there are the Ron Hamels and Gary that come to meetings on a fairly regular basis. I think, Ron, you've made more notes than I have in the past few years. So, and we appreciate that. I mean, it's, you know what, but once you're on this side, it's you know, maybe easier to get elected, but once you have to start governing it, it changes a bit when you are faced with you know, what options you have and what's best for interest. And I, like him, I want nothing more than, you know, I was elected 12 years ago as a write-in, and then a second time as a write-in. I was very humbled by that. The community spoke. I'm totally fine with it. It's actually, frankly, quite liberating that after 12 years. So I wish nothing more but for the best of the future council, but I want to do this the proper way. I'd like to see council at least take applications at this point, and should we decide, we decide. If not, we can let the future council decide. But that's where I stand. I don't know if any other comments from other council members at this time.
Well, I have a tendency to agree with you, Joe. I think we owe it to the public to take applications and go from there.
Good, Wayne? Yes. Okay.
So what time period would you want to establish? Because I will craft a motion for you all.
My feeling is that we ought to look at the form, make sure, because I'm just revisiting it, look at the form. Not necessarily have a special meeting for that, the application.
It's just your name.
Right.
It's what we did.
If you all were to want to use the same form that we currently use to fill vacancies on our planning and Parks, Recreation, and Greenways board, it has 5 questions on it. List your interests and describe how your background would benefit the board. Briefly describe the community planning issue that concerns you the most. How would you propose addressing that issue? What's your long-term vision for the village of Marvin? And are you able to attend meetings? If those are the questions we currently ask those members of our volunteer boards. If those are the same question, if those are the questions you would like to ask these applicants, we can use the same application. If not, we'll need to pull the old application and revisit those questions internally.
Those are good.
And if you're saying that this would be a 2-week process, that these would be presented at the next meeting?
If we open that, we could do 3 weeks. We could do a 3-week period and still get it on the next agenda. So That's up to y'all. That's up to y'all if you want to extend this
Yeah,
3 weeks
do
or a
it for
month.
3 weeks till December 1st.
This Monday, December 1st?
Yeah.
And at that time, will you share with us who is applying? Anytime we get it, that's like in the past, when we have put for
You don't
a
want to,
board position.
you want to be, do you want applications sent to
I
everybody?
misheard.
Yes,
Okay.
you
I just
always
wanna
send
make
them to
sure.
us whenever you get them, so yes,
In
send them
As,
to us.
as I get an application,
Send them to us.
as long as the application comes in while I'm in the office, I will send that to you all. If not, the next time I'm in the office, I'll send it to you all. And so you will get those as they come in, with them all being presented again on the next agenda. Chaplain, any thoughts?
No, I just wanted a precise time period, and I didn't want it by a motion since they're going to be taking action and you're doing that. So they'll just set forth the application process for, I think, 3 weeks is what they're discussing with the current form.
Do you want a motion for that?
So I'm actually just wrote one for you all, to direct the clerk to open an application
it.
process to the vacant council seat using the same online form used for other boards, and to establish a deadline of Monday, December 1st.
Can I ask a question real fast? I guess at the time of the application deadline, are you saying that y'all will make a decision to have a special meeting, or I'm confused what we're going to do with,
Well, he's saying it could go on the agenda for December 9th is what I think you've shared with me.
That's possible.
It
Okay.
could go. We could do a special meeting. We could do a special meeting if we had to right before the December 9th meeting. But if we wanted to pursue that, yes. Is that okay?
yeah, I was trying to get clarification.
Okay. Any other questions from council? Okay.
I need that motion.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to direct the clerk to open an application process for the vacant council seat using the same online form used for other boards, and to establish a deadline of Monday, December 1st at 3 p.m.
3 p.m.? Okay, we can do that.
Make it noon. Just kidding.
2:30.
3 o'clock.
At 3 p.m., okay?
Further discussion. All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
We are closed tomorrow. I will work on getting this programmed into the website on Wednesday. Once it is live, we will send a notification out to the public through our residence list, and we will post on our social media as well.
Thanks. Open topics. Has everybody got any?
I have one, actually. I forgot to do this earlier. I
No,
wanted to give y'all
I'm kidding.
I wanted to give you a quick update on the community survey. I did get an update today from Central Lina. We're up to 464 responses. So we're around another 35, 40 or so from the last update. Our response rate is currently 22%. We've already exceeded the 2019 survey in terms of response rate and number of responses. I'm going to keep reaching out to those neighborhoods that are lagging behind. I'm really just going to focus on those neighborhoods that have less than 10 responses at this point. And for the record, those neighborhoods are Belgrove, Bridle Path, Broadmoor, Cottages at Marvin, Courtyards at Marvin, Estates at Marvin Branch, Heritage Oaks, Marvin Estates, Oak Brook, Providence Estates, Providence Ridge, Robin Wood, Sedgefield, Gates at Marvin, Thurl Farms, Tullamore, Willow Creek, Woodland Forest, Windmore, and the Heritage at Marvin. We don't have any from them, any from that neighborhood.
You don't have what?
We don't have any responses from the Heritage at Marvin neighborhood or Marvin Villas. That's the 5-home subdivision across from Marvin Eford Park.
And when's the deadline? Sorry.
The survey is closing in less than 2 weeks. No, it's less than 3 weeks now, on Friday, November 28th at 5 p.m. So.
But we've exceeded any other survey we've ever done before, is what
I
you're saying.
couldn't hear you.
We've exceeded any other survey we've done before, correct?
Not exceeded any. He said we've exceeded the 2019
Yes.
The
survey.
2019
is-
one?
yes.
Okay. Sorry. Wayne, did you have a question?
We are on track to, hopefully we're going to exceed 500 responses. That's
Perfect.
my personal goal based on the trend that I'm seeing, so.
Okay. All right, so that was one open topic. Any others?
I've got one.
Okay.
I had been discussing with Christina potentially handling the staff and volunteer appreciation holiday party that we normally do. And we've discussed a couple of dates already, which would be the 4th of December or the 18th. The 11th I could make happen, but it might be a little bit tougher. So one thing, just wanted to get some idea of the dates. Also, in terms of, one of those might fall on the current council, and one of them might fall when a new council is in place. So I also wanted to ask if there's any issues. I was thinking that for either date, we might invite all council people, the current council as well as the ones that are coming in.
Anybody have any comments or preferences?
And
What do
you
you
don't have to
prefer?
give me your dates
What's
now.
easier?
You can check with others and stuff like that, and, you know.
I have a lot of time on my hand. What do you prefer?
Well, we're totally fine with either of those dates. Like I said, the 11th we could make work, you know, but, you know, really leaving it up to you know, everybody to see what works best. And you don't have to answer me right now, just, you know, check with your other halves and things like that. And,
Okay, I'll just get back to you.
but as far as everyone, at least on current council, okay, if, you know, I invite everybody to either one, regardless of what date we end up on.
I'm okay with it. Anything else? All right, any other comments? No more open topics. Review of action items.
All right, going back through, we will get the application process set up online. I'll send you guys those applications as they come in. You said no to Marvin Creek sidewalk. We're going to proceed with recording the road closure order for Windmore. On the consent agenda, you had the updates to the branding style guide, so we'll update that. You guys adopted our budget timeline for the next fiscal year, so we'll move forward with those dates. And that's all I got.
Any other changes from anyone? All right, review of the Mayor Pro Kim list. What are they going to call this, Kim, going forward?
I don't know,
Whoever Pro Tem is.
maybe.
It was originally called the ongoing action items list, so probably go back to
You're going to go back to on that?
They're just gonna call it the micromanager list.
That's,
Let's see
just by
here.
the way, for the public, this was a very good thing to kind of keep following, to make sure we were staying up to date on things that needed to be done, so we
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Christina, curbs, gutter, sidewalks?
Those should be started the next couple of weeks.
Okay. We'll leave that on there. Barn repairs, you said any day, so like, check it off the list?
I mean, I'd just keep it until next.
Okay. Hunter, temporary construction easement, did you let them know we're good?
It'll be
Marvin
on.
Grove?
Yeah, it'll be, they got it to us last week. Chaplain did not have a chance to review it, so it will be pushed to a future agenda.
What?
The
Say it again, I'm
easement will
sorry.
be pushed, will be tabled, it's just tabled until right now, tentatively the December meeting.
Okay. Christina, stormwater repairs.
Those will be following the sidewalk repairs.
Okay. Village Hall landscape plan, park plan.
Sorry, my button wasn't working. PRG has presented those plans. Y'all have looked at them. We did get a change order amount back for approximately $5,000 to do what the landscaping plan for PRG entailed. So right now, we're looking at different options to get a credit back for what we would be taking out, which was only $2,000, so a net difference of $3,000. We're trying to figure out how much we can do in-house. It's right at busy season for public works staff, so I'm hesitant to commit their labor fully, so we're still working out some details on that.
Okay.
But there will be a net increase of landscaping if they decide, if this council or future council decides to go with the recommendation of BRG.
Very good, thank you. Christina and Jill will inquire about with NCDOT about returning roads. I feel like I saw an email that said they will, if we take Powell bill funds, they will not take our roads back. Is that what I saw?
That is.
That is what I saw?
Yeah.
In an email from
let me see if I can-
NCDOT? Okay, check that off the list. Austin, did you order the new trail signs?
We're in a hold on that right now.
Okay.
Why?
Well, I'll answer that real fast if you don't mind. DOT said if a municipality receives Powell bill funds, we would not look at taking roads back over. However, even if we were to consider those roads would have to meet all NCDOT standards before they would even consider taking them back if you weren't in the Powell bill. We estimated the wayfinding, any questions on that? So the wayfinding questions, we had estimated and budgeted for about $10,000 in engineering
Wait,
fees.
this isn't that.
Oh,
This is the trail signs, the trail directional signs.
sorry.
We're holding that. You want to explain it, Christina?
Yeah, we've got some questions that were posed that Chaplain is going to have to look into, so we're waiting on some legal analysis on the signage.
Okay. The emergency exit.
Still working on that. We had to go back to the engineers to get some quotes kind of solid up, and so I'm waiting on an email back from Dewberry. So we're probably going to go with either Dewberry or Kimley Horn. They're approximately $16,000, but I wanted to button up a couple questions that I had.
Thank you.
That's it?
Oh.
All right.
I will say, one of the other options that we may consider in lieu of all this is maybe expanding the current driveway at Marvin Eford Park instead of doing an emergency exit, so we could still have one egress, two ways in and out, so it basically serves the same purpose. So we're kind of toying with that idea as well.
You mean 2 lanes
Yeah.
through the existing stanchion? Because, I mean, they're pretty permanent.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to.
I mean, that'd be a lot of money just in and of itself, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know that it's gonna be, I don't know that it's gonna financially be feasible versus doing engineer plans, but if the engineer plans are coming back at 16, 17,000 plus another 20 to 25 in construction for the emergency exit, we may be comparing apples to apples financially, but I don't know that for sure. I was gonna have that conversation.
Well, wouldn't that defeat the purpose of the emergency exit altogether? Because that was the whole point, that emergency services didn't want a bottleneck if something happened there and nobody else be able to get in or out of the park. So if you just put an ingress and egress in the same position, then it's going to block that. So
I thought the intent was to make sure we had 2 lanes of traffic to be
it
able to,
was,
whether that was in the same location or a different one. Again, it's not something that we have to discuss right now. I'll have to look into it and see if it's even feasible financially, but if it would serve that purpose, but I was just letting y'all know.
Okay. All done? We're good? All right. Council comments. Wayne, you have anything? Nothing? Bob? Wayne
No, he
didn't
was
have.
gonna say, huh?
No, he said he's good.
Oh, okay, I'm good, thank you.
John?
I'm good, thank you.
Andy? And Kim?
I'm good, thanks.
And I will just say thank you all for coming and appreciate it, you guys being here for this meeting. And we have our next and final meeting, although I personally will be at the Christmas tree lighting, which is December 9th. I encourage everyone to go to that. The 6th, I'm sorry. I said 9th. December 9th is the
Don't be putting
meeting,
out false
right?
information.
I got you covered.
You can come
I
to
got you
that, too.
covered. Yep, I will be at that as well. And please show up at the car show, because that should be a good show. It was a good show the first time, so if you get a chance to do that. So with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
At 8:18, so moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.